Hi, my YouTube friend, Sandra from ForYouChi.com, and this is your weekly tarot and oracle card reading with me for November 22nd through November 28th of 2020. If you're wondering, Thanksgiving got canceled, but not the RV reservation. So it's humid and it's horrible for curly hair. Anyway, let's get into the messages. After the messages for this week, I want to tell you, we have to get through Thanksgiving. So I want to give you your Thanksgiving messages. I am so grateful for every single one of you that watch my predictions. I greatly appreciate all of you who support me. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And then I'm going to tell a story. A gentleman, very pleasant, reached out to me, and I don't have permission to say his name, so I'm going to change his name, but I'm going to tell you guys what his question was and what my response was, because I think it's important for those folks who this pertains to, which is admittedly not many. Okay, first card here, Crown Chakra. And I'm pulling from the Wisdom of Avalon deck, the Raven. Monday and Tuesday are super psychic. You are hearing the voice of your higher self, your guides, your angels. It's real. Listen to what, ooh, I'm getting goosebumps, and it's not just because the AC kicked on. For real, it's very human. So, you're getting a heads up on something. It could be about holiday plans, so pay attention to that. Write them down, write the information down. I do see a disappointment midweek, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, heartache and loss. You could have some plans go awry, get canceled. You have to do something else. It appears to be that there's some bad news that's delivered to you. Okay, now for some of you, this could be a disappointment in a relationship, someone who's disappointing you. That is possible too with this card. What advice are we being, okay? The advice card, we've got the Deer, and the Deer talks about diplomacy and gentleness. So, I feel like this is a message of don't shoot the messenger here. You may get the message from someone else who delivers it, and you're not going to be in a place of where you are going to be angry at that person, in other words. Okay, this is very heartfelt acceptance type of a message. And the card for the weekend, I love it. Recognition and reward. Pat yourself on the back for a job well done. You deserve it. For some of you, this could mean news of more money coming in or a bonus. And icing on that bonus cake, we have the cow that talks about abundance and receiving. You really can't make it up. Now, there's a fourth card here from this oracle deck that flew out of the deck, so I have to talk about it. The Swan. The Swan talks about psychic gifts here. This is an amazing card. Psychic gifts, transformation, and trusting your gifts. I mean, how about that for that message, combined with the cards for Monday? Pretty cool. It's going to supersede that bad news that's maybe coming midweek. Let's hope not. Let's hope all the news is for the best. Okay, so back to my story. A very polite gentleman reached out to me. Let's just call him Scott. Scott had a question. Scott ran across one of my videos online, and his question was, how is it that I can be so passionate about my work in these videos and my readings and predicting, but yet he doesn't seem to think that any reading that he's ever gotten pertained to him or was relevant. And my response was, Scott, check your rising sign, because your rising sign affects you just as much as your sun sign when you're talking about horoscopes. And so he did that, and he wrote back to me and showed me, I told him where to go. He got the exact time of birth, it was correct. And he showed me a screenshot, and his ascendant was Sagittarius. And I'm laughing because I'm married to a Sagittarius with more Sag in his chart than I've ever seen, and I probably ever will see. And he still, so we were going back and forth with these emails, and he still wanted to know why. Why is it that I'm so passionate, and he believes the intention behind what I'm doing, but yet he hasn't seen any of this relevant in his life? And I said, well, Scott, it can be answered quite simply with your rising sign traits. Now, I am one of the only people, I've never heard anyone else say this, how skeptical Sagittarians are. And you've heard me say it in the videos, and especially if you've heard the Sagittarius video that I do every month. And I kind of poke fun at the Sagittarians last month, or excuse me, in my recording for December. You may want to look at that, because unless, now Sagittarians are a very, very, very small portion of my clientele. The only two Sagittarians that come to me for readings are actually readers themselves who want to double check their information. You know, when we read on important things, we get other people's opinions that we trust to make sure that we are correct in the timeline or whatever the case may be, right? So I'm going to tell this Sagittarius story. Most of you that have been with me for a long time already know the story, so feel free to skip this or end this video right now. So I've been married to Sagittarius for a very long time. Several years ago, when we were about 10 years into the marriage, I had a message come forth the day after I had an oil change and a transmission flush on my truck. And it said specifically, check both dipsticks. And so I told my husband, check both dipsticks. And he said, okay. And now I've never checked a dipstick after an oil change in my life. And I'm not exactly a spring chicken. So he goes out with a paper towel, and I'm with him because I want to know what this message is about. And he pulls out the transmission dipstick. And it turns out that it's brown. Not the color of what you want to see a transmission dipstick look like after you've paid for the flush, right? So then he pulls out the engine, and it's dipstick, and it's bright red. And this was immediately after an oil change. He took it back to the place. They admitted their mistake. I mean, how could they not? And he called me from the waiting room and asked me to come pick him up because it was going to take a while to fix the mistake. And in the waiting room, when he's asking me to pick him up, on the phone, he said to me, you know, the dreams that you have and the messages that you've delivered that have come true are pretty amazing. But today, this takes the cake. Now, we had been together for 10 years, and I had predicted all kinds of things. And he never really said much about it. And so that's what I mean by the universal 2x4 has to slap the Sagittarius across the face with the message in the here and now, not in the future, maybe in the past, in order for them to acknowledge and recognize that, you know, holy shit, maybe this is right after all. Maybe this really is a thing. Okay, so that's it for this week's funny and reading. Everyone, please get through Thanksgiving. Have a happy, wonderful Thanksgiving. Be safe and be healthy. And if you need me for a private reading, I'm available. Just reach out to me by email. I'll have it in the description box here on YouTube. Many blessings, everyone.